Hi everyone, my name is Marion. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are filming a book haul. I've acquired, as you can see, a lot of books in the past month or two, so I thought I would go through them. So grab a cup of tea, get cozy, because this is going to be a long video. So the first one that I got is called God is No Laughing Matter by Julia Cameron. She is one of my favorite authors. She is my Otobi author now. She wrote The Artist Way, which is, I think, a 6 or 12 week course where each week you read a chapter and it's supposed to like help you work through your creative blockages. So now each time I see her name in any bookstore, I pick her up. So we'll see what this one is about. I got Young and the Key IDs. I've been wanting to get into his work, his psychology work, but it's a bit intimidating. So I thought I would pick a smaller book with his ideas and like summaries of them. Law Survival Guide by Chelsea Hansen. I feel like I've been going through a lot of different processes of grief these past couple of months, and I haven't felt like I've been able to deal with them really a lot. So I want to process that through therapy, and I thought I would also pick up a book on it, what it can teach me and help me. So then we have The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday, 366 Meditations on Wisdom. I've been wanting to get into Stoicism, but it's been really tough. I have Seneca's Letters. It's a chunk of a book. It's really big, and the English language sometimes is a bit hard to understand in there. English is not my first language, so there are words that sometimes I can't get. So I thought I would get into this one instead. So each day you can look up the date and you have a daily stoic meditation for you to think about throughout the day and journal on, which is what I want to try to do. Confessions of a Born Again Pagan by Anthony Kronman. This was in the philosophy section of my used bookstore, and just seeing the cover and the title really drew me in. I would call myself a pagan, a spiritual individual. So saw this, and reading the back, it says that it's drawing on the reaches of ancient philosophy and later thinkers from Aquinas to Darwin and Freud, um, on about God and about Western philosophy, Western thoughts around God and the creation. And so I thought that was really interesting. So I picked that up, but it's really big, so it's gonna take me months to read. So then I got two dummies books. I got Digital Marketing All in One, and then I got Starting an Online Business All in One. I've been wanting to start online businesses in terms of my art, in terms of my poetry. I've been wanting to create products and digital products to try to sell like on Etsy and other things like that. So I thought that these two books would be really interesting for me to read. We have Your Life book, Your Path to Optimal Health and Well-Being, Becoming the Dominant Force in Your Life by Dr. Ace. Um, I saw this and it literally looks like a word book from like a textbook from school. But it's all about trying to get better with your well-being and your health. I've been struggling with that recently, and I really want to get back onto being healthy and being joyful. And so I hope that working through some textbooks, some questions, in addition to therapy, will help me get through that. We also have this book. I think everybody has heard of this book. It's called A Little Life by Anya Yanagihara. I read this, I would say maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And since reading this book, I have not been able to not think about it. I think about it constantly. This book wrecked me. It just transformed the way I think, transformed my life. It's a really heavy book. Please check trigger warnings before you get into this. But it was an incredible story, and I read it through my library and I didn't have it, and so I've been wanting to get it for such a long time that I finally decided it was time. So I got it. Recently, I got this book. This was gonna be a poetry book on blackout poetry. But, so this is called Unwords by Andrew Galax. But this is huge. When I got it out of the box, I didn't realize how big this was. So this is a compilation of essays from Andrew Galax, from the author, that he never wanted to publish, that he never finished, I think, is my understanding. And I really like the back of it because this is dedicated to writers. He's just enumerating a lot of writers. So, like, writers who write in invisible ink, writers whose work potentially never completely translates into actuality, writers who seek out the untranslatable, writers who think that words can do what they cannot say, writers whose books keep on writing themselves after completion, writers who take their time, writers who destroy their manuscripts, and writers who are destroyed by them. He lists a lot of writers like this, and that really drew me in. So I'm really excited to get into those essays. Also got this one, The 1,000 Most Important Questions You Will Ever Ask Yourself. This is also in relation to your life book, this kind of more health related book, textbook. It has also a bunch of questions that you can fill out, like journal form a little bit. In terms of self-help books, I also got these two books, the 2024 Llewellyn's Witch's Companion, and then Sacred Sex by Gabriela Harstick. I feel like I've been wanting to explore more of sex and my sexuality and the traumas that I have regarding sex, and so I thought that this would be a great book. And then I picked up this one because it also mentions grief and how we can bring in spirituality to help work through grief. So then most recently I got this book, the last installment of the Magnolia Park series by Jessa Hastings. I don't know if it's the last installment actually, but this is the latest book that just came out called Into the Dark. I got the whole series because I was obsessed. I'm obsessed with these covers. I love the original covers so much. So I decided to order them of Blackwell's, the UK website, all the series. And I started the first book and I'm really enjoying it. I'm maybe like 65 pages into it. Basically a Gossip Girl set in London. So it's really fun. And when I saw that this one came out, I had to get it. We have, I believe this is a YA. So I believe this is a YA that just came out. I also ordered it of Blackwell's and we have sprayed edges. So I was really excited. This is Infinity Alchemist by Kaysen Callender. I was really intrigued by the premise. It's all around alchemy and it's around this school of alchemy and two kids that are supposed to go to that school, but then they get caught doing something illegal. And so they have to like find this like sacred book or something to try to get out of whatever mess they created. So I thought that that was really interesting. Then I also decided to pick out The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I've heard so many great things about this Dandelion series. Everybody just raves about it. It's such an incredible fantasy story that I've heard about for so long. And I'm not really a fan of the American covers, so when I saw that they had this one in stock on Blackwell's, I decided to pick it up. Hopefully this is one that I'll pick up pretty soon because I'm excited to dive into this world. And then finally, we have like maybe five more, so I decided to pick up this one, That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf by Kimberly Lemming. I read this series on my Kindle a couple of months ago last year and I'm obsessed with it. I love it. It's such a fun, quirky little fantasy story. So this is the second book. The first book is That Time I Got Drunk and I Saved a Demon or something like that, and that was amazing. I can't wait for the third book to come out in paperback so I can pick it up. I'm definitely gonna reread these because they're really fun. Also picked up this book, I had seen it a couple of times on TikTok and YouTube, but I just didn't know what this was about. And so this is called The Ship of Theseus by V.M. Straka. This is told that this is a book that two people are gonna find. Like, this is a manuscript that was left by this author somewhere, and two students are gonna find it, and they're gonna go back and forth writing, like talking to each other in the margins of the book, of the manuscript. And it's apparently full of like intrigue and like something like a mystery to solve, like some treasure hunting kind of story, if I'm understanding it correctly, because I don't know. But opening the book inside, there's a lot of loose papers and like postcards and things like that. So that's really, really fun. I love when books and stories do that. So I didn't know that this is what it was gonna be, but I'm happily surprised and I can't wait to get into it. I got Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and then I got Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, her sister. I love these editions, so I decided I already have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, and so I wanted to continue collecting, and I found this one at the used bookstore, so I decided to pick it up. Wuthering Heights, I've heard so many good things about it. I've heard that it's a heart-wrenching, dark story, but still there's romance in it. Like, I've been wanting to pick it up. It's also not very long, so yeah. And then the last one that I bought very recently is the latest volume of Monstress by Marjorie Liu. This is volume 8 called Inferno. I didn't know that volume 8 had come out. It came out in October of last year. I'm so surprised that I haven't kept up with this because I have all first 7 volumes of the series and I am obsessed with it. It's about this girl, she's an orphan, and there was this huge explosion in the very beginning in her city that basically killed most of her race, and she's one of the only survivors. So this is also a really good disability representation because during the explosion, she lost her arm, and so she was able to get a prosthetic based on the mechanics of this fantasy world. It's like very like sophisticated and like magic infused, etc. So it's a really, really interesting story. I love it. It's very dark and gore at times, so I would check some trigger warnings. But I absolutely love the drawings in it. It's extremely beautiful and the story is amazing, so I would highly recommend. I have a buying problem. I'm trying to get on a book buying ban this year. Obviously that didn't work, but the next 2 weeks I want to try to not buy any books so that I can try to get myself used to doing that and try to read as many books as I can.
2 weeks later.
Y'all, guess what? It's been 2 weeks since the last clip that you just saw. We have a little problem. I have more books to show you guys. The other day, I went into Barnes& and Noble because they were having double points day because it was leap day, and it was release day because it was, I believe, a Tuesday, and I had been eyeing this book. And so I went in only to pick up this book and I came out with 7 others. So this I had been following for a couple of weeks now. I found the author on TikTok and the way she was presenting her story, it sounded incredible. I ran to Barnes& and Noble to get it. So this book, based on what the author was saying, I believe it's inspired by Polish folklore from like Poland. So this is what the blurb is saying. Liska knows that magic is monstrous, and its practitioners are monsters. She has done everything possible to suppress her own magic to disastrous consequences. Desperate to be free of it, Liska flees her small village and delves into the dangerous demon-infested Spirit Wood to steal a mythical fern flower. If she plucks it, she can use its one wish to banish her powers. I'm not gonna read more because I feel like it's gonna reveal too much about the book, but this is Where the Dark Stands Still by A.B. Poranek, and I'm so excited to start reading it. I really hope I can pick it up this month. In addition to that book, I also picked up this one. This is A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. This is apparently a French book, which I wasn't aware of until I saw it a couple of times over on YouTube, and people were talking about how this is translated from the French. Excited to see what this is about. I saw that this was from the Europa editions, which is the same publisher or editions that published the Italian novels, My Brilliant Friend. I have been devouring that series. I have been loving it. So I'm really hoping that this is somewhat similar, even though this is YA and fantasy. I'm hoping that this transports me. Then I saw the third book in the Mead Mishap trilogy. This is such a cute romance. I read the first two books, I have them on my shelf, and I love them so much. It's such a fun, light read. You can read it in one sitting. If you need romance, if you need smut, if you need hotness and fun and adventure and dragons and a sword that talks, then please go read this. It's phenomenal. I had been eyeing both of those books for a really long time now. I like the synopsis of it, but I never picked it up. And so when I saw it 50% off, I decided to pick both of those up. If you don't know about Godkiller, it's basically in the kingdom of Midran, gods are forbidden, and there's a human, like in society now, humans are paid to go kill gods. And it's about this girl, Kissin, who saw her family murdered by a god. Now she's a god killer. And at the same time, I picked up this one, which is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. It's a cozy fantasy. This is about this lady who's a researcher, and she's gonna go into this remote land to study fairies, and she's also gonna encounter her academic rival, and there's gonna be like an academic battle of some sort. So I thought that that was really cute and really fun. I've been in the mood of more like coziness, cozy things. So I also selected this book, The Wolf of Oren Yarrow by K.S. Veloso. I had heard a little bit about it going on around YouTube, but not that much. And I've seen it in multiple underrated fantasy videos, so I thought I would pick it up. Then a while back, I had ordered from Blackwell's, and I had ordered this poetry collection called This Afterlife by A.E. Stallings. I just loved the cover. This was definitely a cover buy. I do not know the author, did not read any excerpts from this book, so I have no idea what kind of poems these poems are. Last book that I have for this haul for you guys is When the Moon Hatched. This book has been going around Book Talk for so long and has been just rave reviews. People have just been raving about this book, how great of a world building this is, how great of a story this is, that you don't really expect how immersive this world is going to be. I'm really excited about this. It has dragons, it has magic, it has all of the things of a good fantasy that we could ask for. This is on my March TBR. There's already a bookmark in it. I'm about to start it tonight. I am so excited. This is my final book haul for the past, I would say, 2 months and a half. I'm trying to be on the book buying bin. I'm not sure this is gonna work, but we can only hope.
3 days later.
I have a problem. Weekend, I went and I got some more books. I did Barnes& and Noble and Half Price Books. So this is just a mix of it. I only have like a couple of books, like 4 books. The first one is this one, We All Fall Down by Rose Sabo. And this is the Illumicrate edition, the signed edition. So I was really, really excited to find this. I've been meaning to read it, but I was putting it off until I found it for $10 at Half Price Books, so I'm really excited. Then I found Foul Heart Huntsman by Chloe Gong. This is the second book in the Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. I started These Violent Delights by her, and I love her writing. So I'm really enjoying These Violent Delights because I love Romeo and Juliet. So I really want to try to see if I'm gonna like this. So I have the first book that I had also found at Half Price Books, so I'm excited to have found the second one. Then I found two of the Chiltern collection. So these are like classics that have been like rebound basically into this like collector's edition. So I found A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce. I have never heard of this. This says, like his near namesake of Greek myth, Stephen Dedalus wants to throw off the shackles of family, faith, and country that constrain his artistic ambitions. Stephen grows from lisping infancy, expressing a child's eyes view of the world, to an easy adulthood and follows his search for identity in one of the most original and innovative novels of the 20th century. So, I've never heard of this. I'm excited to pick it up. It looks like it's a short classic too, so we'll see. And then I got Moby Dick. Never actually like read this, but I found it for $10. These are usually like $30, so I'm really excited. I really want to have like the full collection of this, but I don't have enough money to be buying $30 each book. So, and then I went to Barnes and Noble. I got this one that says A Bag of Books, so I'm really excited. So I went to get this book, Save the Cat Writes a Novel. I've heard a lot of people love this book in terms of how to write a novel, like how to really taking you, like apparently it's taking you step by step through doing that, and like really going deep into each step and explaining like what you should do and like things like that. So I'm really excited to get into this. I've been wanting to write a novel for a really long time. I have an idea in mind since like I've had this idea since 2019, and I've not been able to really flesh out my magic system and the characters in there, so I haven't really started writing anything about it, so I really hope this is gonna help me. Also got Bird by Bird by Annie Lamott. This was recommended by the Barnes& and Noble seller, um, and she told me that she actually really, really enjoyed this book. This is also a writer's guide to writing a novel, but this also includes some more like personal essays, I believe, by the author. So yeah, that was it, guys. That was my last haul, hopefully for the next couple of months. I want to stick to that. I don't want to buy any books until July. In July, my local library is having a book festival for like a weekend for 2 days where they'll have a lot of like authors come in to do like discussion panels, to do signings. So hopefully I'll be able to vlog that event for you guys, and I'll also be able to get a lot of books. So I want to try to save money for this event. So now I'm on a book buying ban until July. So let's see if I can make it. Thanks, guys. Bye.